done this many times.
Oh, this is my first time doing live anything.
Oh, so us too.
Hey!
We're here.
Hello.
We're still at Michigan Pagan Fest.
Yes.
Four.
Car is actually on screen for once. Gwen made him trade out with her because she's done like 3 of these interviews in a row.
Oh, wow.
But admittedly, they were all people she
people she
invited.
invited.
Right. So,
Gotcha.
and I invited Sarenth.
So here he is.
Yep.
You get to see
I love
his.
you, Sarah.
Likewise. Thank you.
So, in case you all haven't actually seen him before, so
Right.
this is Sarenth Odinsson, who
As
is part of-
earlier we showed you Jim
Jim-
Two Snake's face. Now you get to see Sarenth's face
Yep.
from
Folks,
around Grandfather Fire.
Yep.
And speaking of fire, tell us what you've been up to with the Sacred Fire.
So I do usually every year I'm the night shift. So I'm a midnighter, and it's just the shift I usually end up doing. I'll usually get up sometime around 9, 10 o'clock, and then I'll take care of the Sacred Fire from about 10:30, 11 o'clock until whenever Jim decides to get up.
So this year, as I understand it, there was a little trouble because it rained almost all Thursday.
Yeah, so getting started was a real challenge. I have to remember there's a camera there.
His camera. You don't have to look at it if you don't want to.
So we started off with building a nest for the fire because we were like, okay, it's pouring, and
It was really coming down, you guys.
so we've had fires like that where it rains like maybe the second day. But this was kind of a unique challenge, and okay, so we build this nest up, and pine and mugwort, tobacco, and we really put a lot of work into it, blessed it, and my student and fellow kindred mate Matt actually struck the spark that lit it with the flint and steel. I'm very proud of him. He did an
Nice.
excellent
Great.
job.
Yeah.
And it took him like maybe 3 strokes, and we were off to the races. So, and that really was like the challenging bit for this weekend.
Just getting it to go.
Getting it to go and stay lit. Because-
And then the wood basically has been wet all weekend.
yeah, it's been soft.
Yeah,
it's
so-
all softwood.
It didn't.
Yeah,
it
yep.
didn't dry out at all.
No, I was watching, like, they would put pieces of it kind of on the sides of the fire pit
Yeah.
to dry out. And then when they would put it on the fire, it would still sizzle and water would pop out of it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, and just keeping the wood from getting too steamy, I guess, has been the other big challenge of the weekend. With as far as like the actual tending of the fire.
The mechanics of tending the fire. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the first night was just so rough because so I goofed and didn't bring an extra pair of socks. I couldn't go back to the trailer, and so I'm sitting there for a couple hours in wet socks. And, oh, that was a challenge. So I was really like, oh, Jim, thank you so much when he finally relieved me in the morning. I was like, oh.
yeah, it was like I wore sandals on Thursday when we got here.
Yes.
And I'm really glad I did, because I went over to that Sacred Fire area
And sunk.
in, standing in 2 inches of water.
Yeah, Jim described it as a moat. I think that's pretty accurate.
Yep. I
Because
think that's
I think it's a little bit downhill too, which is even worse.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not the best place for a Sacred Fire.
Maybe.
Where else would you put it though? I mean,
yeah.
Until we grow big enough that we can take over the entire
right, the whole
Wayne County
park.
Fairgrounds.
And no longer compete with the dog show.
Oh, is
And
that
the
what's
horse
going
show.
on?
And the horse show.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm surprised that didn't wake you up, because the dog show yesterday was really loud.
I was dead.
Gotcha.
Dead.
Yes, QQN, it has been
A
very rainy summer so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
overall.
And of course, it has nothing to do with like global warming or
Climate
anything.
change couldn't
no.
possibly be
No.
related.
Nope, because that doesn't exist.
No.
Right. So what else are you up to, Sarenth? I mean, it's been a while since we talked to you. It's been since convocation in February.
So, honestly, not a whole lot on my end of things. Been just trying to keep up with the overtime at work, seeing the family and taking care of them, keeping up the daily cultus at home, the home gods and things like that, ancestors, spirits. A lot of my spiritual plate has kind of gone in the back burner until this weekend, and it was like, okay, now it's time to get out there and do your stuff.
Right.
And after this, I'm going to have a vacation for a little while longer. I'm going to be relaxing and doing Round Grandfather Fire with Jim as usual. And we've got a couple episodes in the can.
Nice.
So
that's nice that you do that. That you do episodes and then just
sit on them.
Right.
We release everything the day after we record it, which is a terrible practice.
I mean, it was really like boom, 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 boom. We had interview after interview. We got really lucky because a whole lot of people were willing to come on the show all at once. So there was like every week we were doing an interview, and so we had a backlog. And so, okay, so we got 3 in the can. We're great. We're golden. So
the problem is then not getting complacent and not doing any.
Yeah.
I've got 3 in the can, and then all of a sudden
and then you run out.
Crap, I don't have any.
Yeah.
You were telling me that you did a 2-hour interview and lost everything.
Yeah. So I had, it was just myself at PSVL because Jim had something to do that evening. And it was just myself at PSVL, and I didn't realize with the program I was using, it has to pop up a certain way. So I exited out of the program, re-entered the program. It didn't click into the Skype conversation and didn't record a thing.
Oh, no.
So PSVL and I had a great 2-hour conversation. I got nothing on file.
Oh, man.
I was so annoyed.
We lost, what episode was it? I don't remember. Sometime early on, we lost an episode, so we re-recorded it.
And then it was real echoey.
And it wasn't just echoey. That episode was unlistenable.
Yeah.
It sounded like 14 demons trying to speak simultaneously at the speaker. It was horrifying. So we had to scrap it and record it a third time before we finally completed that episode. It was a nightmare.
Luckily, we haven't had that problem since.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
After that happened, we created a checklist
Of all
the things we had to confirm were running correctly before we would commit to starting the episode.
Gotcha. Yeah. We kind of have a pre-flight checklist now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although even this weekend, there's been times I haven't, like when Jim was on.
Yes.
We had our first.
Oh no.
The first 10 minutes or something, we had the mic muted.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So they just, they could see us talking, and maybe if they could lip read, they could pick up some of it.
But then we just unmuted the mic and started over, and we're like, that's the video.
Gotcha.
So it goes.
Because you're live, so
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do about
There's no
it at that
fixing
point.
it.
Yep.
Aside from work and doing home cultists, mostly been doing a little bit of essential consulting work. Kind of like, okay, so this is what the Northern Tradition's like. These are the things you might want to look at to start with. Like, I heavily recommend anybody looking for intro materials, Neolithic Shamanism by Galina Kreskova and Raven Caldera, and Spiritual Protection by Sophie Riker. It's not the full title. I have a hard time remembering the whole title, but Spiritual Protection by Sophie Riker gets you grounding, centering, shielding. It's a really good intro resource. And what I usually do is I'll huck like a 7-part list at people and go, these are the books you're going to want to pick up. Here's the order you're probably going to want to read them in. And
Start here and get back to me.
Most of the books that I huck, like the first 2 or 3 are workbooks.
Right.
Because it doesn't do a lot of good to just huck the eddas at somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
No context. Here, read this. And it's somebody's translation, somebody's interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, because the eddas are on there, but it's like 4 or 5 on the list or something like that out of 7. So I do a lot of like hands-on, practical. This is how you set up an altar. This is what you do. How to worship your ancestors. The cool thing about Neolithic Shamanism is it doesn't just throw you into the middle of things with the gods.
Oh yeah, no, I have Neolithic Shamanism.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really, really good book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does work you through like a whole system. Has little like, not workshops, little exercises to complete like sequentially. It's really very well constructed.
Mm-hmm. And it's really my go-to. And people are like, well, I want to get into the Northern Tradition. Cool. Don't bother with the academic stuff if you actually want to do the religion.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying don't read the Eddas, don't read the academic stuff. I mean, if you want to get that in bite-sized pieces, Jackson Crawford's an excellent YouTube source.
Yes. Jackson Crawford is a gift and a treasure.
Yes. But aside from Crawford, the person I usually point people to is Carolyn Langton out of Oxford. And
she has one of the new translations.
Yeah, and it's cut and dry. It's not like Hollander where it's these, thous, and wherefores and whatnots. Mm-hmm. So I cherish the Larrington translation, and I heavily recommend it. But I really, when people are like, well, I really want to get into this, what do you recommend? Neolithic shamanism is probably the best intro material I've seen for the Northern tradition beginner. Now, people say, oh, well, it's not heathen. Well, I'm kind of a mix of both Northern tradition, pagan, and heathen, so I don't care. So yeah, that's where a lot of people are at right now, is they're working through those two books, Neolithic Shamanism and Spiritual Protection by Sophie Riker, hand in hand. And I usually assign those hand in hand because the cool thing about Neolithic Shamanism is you get to go right to, okay, I'm going to do worship work and I'm going to do energy work. And some of these people have already kind of dipped their toes in and they're kind of, oh, I know, I've gone a little bit of this, I've gone to this workshop, I've had this experience. Okay, cool. So let's build discernment. Let's build the groundwork for applicable occult techniques that'll make sure that you can develop your own discernment from the ground up. And even people who've been pagan for 15 years or better, I've said, you know what, back to basics. Because it happened to me when I got taken on by Galena. She's like, cool, I'm really happy you've had all this training. That's nice, but I need to know that you know what you know. Yeah. So you're going to go back and do it all over again. So, when I recommend these things, it's not just me going, oh, yeah, Sarenth is, Grand Poobah wizard over here. He knows exactly. No, I got busted back down to basics too.
So I guess my big question is, when are you going to teach your next rune workshop?
Oh, God. So convocation is a little tricky because of how work is doing their vacation book right now. I don't know if I'm going next year.
Oh, no.
No, at all?
I don't know.
Wow.
I almost didn't know if I was going to be able to come to this because work completely flip-flopped how they're doing their vacation books. So it was an open question. That's why I didn't submit anything.
Yeah.
If I can't show up, I'm not going to submit classes.
Yeah, if you can't commit to it.
Yeah. So it's an open question as to whether or not I'm going to be at con. But my hope is that I'm going to be here next year, and this is going to be all on work. Mercifully, Con and Michigan Pagan Fest are both at times where not a lot of people actually want the time off. Like,
you're not competing with a bunch of other people in the office.
No, I mean I'm low dude on the totem pole at work, so my seniority is pretty low. By the time it gets around to me, there's a lot of stuff that's already X'd out. So when am I going to do the next rune workshop? Well, I can submit it for next Michigan Pagan Fest. We'll see about con, but I wouldn't promise anything at this point.
Okay. And how long does it take you to teach it?
About an hour and a half usually is what runs for the rune workshop.
So there's this really neat thing called YouTube, and you could, I don't know, maybe film the rune workshop,
maybe,
and then people would have an option to be able to do that. I mean, we could just do one, whenever you want. Really, just give us a call. We'll come over. We'll set up, and you can do a rune workshop.
All right. Yeah, I think that is one thing that I've heard from more than a few people about accessibility, because con takes place in a hotel, this place takes place in a campground, and accessibility issues, time off. I get that.
Yeah. Yep.
So that might not be a bad idea.
All right. Well, we're more than happy to help.
All right.
No guarantees.
No guarantees, but we're offering our ability to help you do that.
I appreciate it.
If you're interested.
Yeah, let me talk to my elder. Let me do some thinking about it.
Yep.
And we'll get back.
Yeah.
Right.
Sounds great.
So have you been doing anything other than Sacred Fire while you've been here? Or has that been your whole...
I mean, I went to one panel discussion, and that was the Phoenix Rising Roundtable you guys hosted. Well, I don't think I've been to much of anything else. It's just been Sacred Fire, sleep. Sacred Fire, sleep. I mean, in previous years, I was all about, okay, we're going to bang this out. I'm just going to stay up all day, all night, No, not this year. Self-care is premium right now.
Yep.
Because I'm coming off of working a lot of OT out of stretch. I was like, we're not doing this again. You are sleeping. So, and it's been really nice because having my student here who's initiated into Northern Tradition spirit firework, I don't have to be here all the time. And Jim and Caitlin, who is also a member of the Kindred, we've got 4 people helping to tend this fire all together. So I don't have to be up all the time.
Right.
And
it's less of a burden on any one individual.
Bingo. Yeah. And out of any of us, Matt's been the most present at the fire, to be real about it. And he's done a fantastic job. And so have Caitlin.
Long blonde hair, long beard.
Yeah, we've seen him over there.
Yep.
Congratulations, Matt, on your good work.
Yes. And Caitlin and Jim have done an amazing job. And it's always a pleasure to work with all of them. And just Matt being my student, I can't help but gush on him. So, he's done a fantastic job. And really seeing him grow with the fire the last year or two has been really awesome, because it's no longer, hey, what do you think of this? It's, making his own choices about what he puts in the fire when, and being able to leave him with the fire alone and know that he knows what he's doing and he's got it. That's amazing to do. So, it's been a really good year for fire. It's been amazing being able to work with the crew that we've got. So I think this is our 8th year doing the Sacred Fire as Jim and I doing the Sacred Fire. Year.
Yep.
It's amazing.
You're coming
So
up on a decade here.
2021 will be a decade. Oh my God. So that'll, and I already know they're like, I'm pretty sure Leanne's planning something to show like pictures from the last 10 years, so you get to see how you've aged.
I'm not sure I'm okay with that. But it's funny how down home this started and how it's grown and grown and grown into an institution. Wild Hunt's like, this is like one of the premier events you probably should check out if you're ever in the Midwest area. It's a really cool thing to be a part of that. And I got to hand it to him. When I first signed up to be a Sacred Fire Team, it's 8 years ago. I wasn't very confident at all I could do it, let alone I could do it well. It's been a really big journey these last 8 years, just in terms of the fire tending, not just personal life.
Right.
And the fun part is that every fire is different. Like, we'll have some years it's going to be a really nice, relaxed fire. Some years it's, I don't know if Jim's talked with you guys about this, but we had one year where we had a very strict fire, and you had to stay 20, 40 feet away. You couldn't bring food around. There were only certain offerings. You entered a certain way, and there was protocol, heavy protocol with that fire. And the next year, or the year after that, I can't remember. They started blurring together after a while. We had a really hungry fire. Oh, please eat in front of me. Bring me treats. Is that chocolate? Cool. I want some.
Dump some in here.
Right.
Everything we ate, drank, you name it. The fire wanted a little bit, and everything was good. And then there were some fires where you couldn't smell alcohol within 100 feet, and the fire would get angry about it. So every fire has its own spirit.
How was this year's?
Very, very, very relaxed. There were some years where we couldn't even smoke in front of the fire because the fire was like, I am the fire.
Rude.
Right.
So
take your tiny cinder away.
Right. Exactly. Like no competition, no nothing here. And so this year was very relaxed, very calm, very loving. A very loving fire, and really interesting for being so. With the wood being so wet and everything being so steaming, it's also, I think it's been a very cleansing fire in that regard. It's almost like when I was piling this morning, I piled a whole ton of this wet wood on it. It reminded me of a sauna. So it's got that real big cleansing aspect to it this year, which, given everything that's going on right now, makes total sense.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
So
thank
would
you.
you-
No, go ahead. One more.
Just a brief question.
Yep.
Would you say, because every fire is different, would you say you get the fire you need at the time you need it, or
I wouldn't say I do. I'd say we all do because it's
Collectively.
the festival. And sometimes the firekeepers, when we're working with the fire tells us, okay, this might be the theme, but this is what
here's what's up?
here's what's up. So yeah, the fire is very straightforward with us a lot of times about what it's about and what it's there to do, and from there, it's just our job is to help other people facilitate relationship with it. Like, get out of the way, maybe sometimes intercede, say, hey, the fire's kind of angling towards this. What do you think? The fire wants this. Do you have that on you? Some of our job is to get up on people and say, okay, so this is the fire. This is how we work with it. And sometimes it's just to totally take our hands off and be like, okay, this is just a safe place where you can experience the gods. And
Very cool.
spirits. Yeah, very cool.
All right.
Now you may leave.
All right. So that's it for this. I think we're actually done.
Probably, yeah. Get in here, Gwen.
Get in here real quick. Hi guys. I was looking at wolves
Yeah, she got distracted by wolves again.
again.
Yes,
There are
those are
wolves.
awesome.
There are wolves. Ambassador wolves.
Well,
around.
and I lost the video I took with the woman whose family owns the wolves and
Trains them.
So she's going to email me all of that information so we can give you more information about those wolves because they're amazing.
Yep. They are. All right. So I think this is probably it for Michigan Pagan Fest this year.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
for us.
there's
It's still going
the
on.
closing writ at 4.
Yep.
But then it's done.
And then we're done.
So,
So we just want to say thank you for following us.
yes,
And
thank you for joining us on this journey.
what do you
For having me on.
What am I giggling about? This.
Oh,
This is what I'm giggling
yes, we're being
about.
photobombed by
We're
the
being
flamingo again.
the crazy
The murder flamingo.
murder flamingo.
That's awesome.
That's what you get for bringing it in.
I think we got a like for the flamingo.
So again, that's it. We believe this is it for Michigan Pagan Fest,
Yep.
but you never know.
You never know.
There
we
may
might-
be a late stream.
Right.
We might throw something at you.
Yep. So make
Just-
sure
just
you
by
click
surprise.
the bell.
Yeah.
and-
So just keep an eye on the YouTube channel.
Yep.
Who
just in
knows?
case
Yep.
you get inspired.
Frequently, we're like, this is the end of the day, and then 2 more interviews happen. So
Right.
who knows?
Yep.
Who knows?
All
But
right.
thank you guys for hanging out with us on YouTube, and
Thanks, Sarenth,
thanks
for joining
Sarenth
us.
for joining us, and we will definitely do more of this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So,
it's been fun.
Yep, it's been a blast.
And just as a reminder, the regular podcast will not be up until Tuesday.
Yes, we're recording on Monday
We're
instead of on
recording on
Sunday, and it will be edited and uploaded on Tuesday.
So all you
Yeah,
hunters and
looking forward
above
to
level who
Yes.
listen live on the Discord,
On the Discord
it's Monday,
Monday
at 7.
at 7
Yep,
instead of at 7 on Sunday because we have to drive back.
right, yeah.
And we have to sleep.
All right.
Pagan watching from South Africa. Hi. Well, we hope you had a good time.
Hey,
Hey there, Southern Hemisphere friend.
Yes.
Thank you for watching.
as we're enjoying the summer solstice.
Yes.
Right.
And
And
so
enjoy your
your-
winter shenanigans.
Blessed winter solstice to
Yeah,
you, my
yep.
friend.
All right.
That's awesome.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Blessed be.
And end.